everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Quack Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mayhem. And I must say, this is one of the least remembered things we're doing, and it's also one of the oddest things we're doing.
Yeah, this gets our official, unofficial sponsor, Yingling, because you're going to need it after watching this show.
Yeah, I'm not a Yingling fan, but after... This one was confusing, to say the least. For those of you that missed our Beach Brawl 96 or 91, this one's not much better.
No, we're talking about the Survivor Series, 1994.
Coming to us from San Antonio, and you're missing something because it's very, very important that you put it on.
Where is it?
I don't know what you did with it.
Oh, yeah, I guess I do. That's right.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Survivor Series.
There you go. Because this one was commentated by Vince McMahon and Gorilla Monsoon in cowboy hats, cowboy shirts, and tombstones for dead dick belt buckles.
Yes, this was really bad. These two are not that great. They're like two straight guys doing the commentary.
Exactly.
No comedy. That's why this hat is gone.
Right. Well, originally this was not supposed to be Vince and Gorilla because, as he said, that's two play-by-play guys. You didn't have a commentary person, an analyst person on the side, which is what Gorilla or what Bobby did, what Jesse Ventura did. Well, you didn't have that here. Well, originally it was supposed to be Jim Ross and Randy Savage. Jim Ross thought he had suffered a heart attack, so he was taking a couple of weeks off to kind of recover. And Randy Savage had left at the end of October. This took place in November because he chose not to renew his contract. And that's why we get Gorilla and Vince.
Yeah. Moving along here.
Yeah.
Because on interviews, we had your buddy Todd Pettengill.
Also wearing a cowboy hat. Looked like a doofus. I'm trying to think of some goofy cowboy characters, and I basically can't think of one. If Kurt Angle was 145 pounds in a tiny cowboy hat and walked around with long black hair.
Oh, God.
The Pettengill just needs to be experienced, but please don't watch this show.
Yes. Oh, my God. Ring announcer, we had Howard Finkel.
We got one good one.
Referees Mike Chioda, Danny Davis, Jack Doan, and Earl Hebner.
And I want to give it up to Wikipedia on this one. Wikipedia actually got this one right of who they put in there as the referees.
Yeah.
Good for you, Wikipedia. Every once in a while, you do tell the truth.
This show is giving me indigestion. I apologize. But, yeah, let's move on here, because we had our first match. The bad guys. The 1-2-3 Kid, the British Bulldog, Fatu, Razor Ramon, and Sione, with Alpha and Lou Albano, taking on the Teamsters, Diesel, Jeff Jarrett, Jim Neidhart, Owen Hart, and Shawn Michaels.
All right, so there's a lot to unpack here.
Oh, there's too much.
Fatu was no longer with the other guy that was part of the Head Shrinkers. I wish I could remember his name. He's part of the Anawa'i family. Anyway, Samu, he had left, and they changed him from the Barbarian to his real first name, Sione, and he's also a member of the Anawa'i family.
Yes.
And now they're baby faces. And because Sione can't wrestle barefooted, Rikishi, Fatu, put on boots, and that was one of the continuing things of he kept trying to take his boots off. So, I also love the great line Vince McMahon said. Jeff Jarrett wore Christmas decoration on his outfit, and I'm not a Jeff Jarrett fan, but Vince McMahon said the greatest line. He's molting! Because his stuff kept falling off.
It did.
And that's a thing for you indie guys. If you have stuff like that on your outfit, take it off. Because it clutters up the ring. And it just looks horrible to begin with.
I will tell you my favorite part of this match was just Diesel one by one, just eliminating people. I was happy with that because, God, this match needed to be over quicker.
I felt like I was watching the movie Trading Places. Sell! Sell! Diesel was not selling.
He wasn't.
3 of the most unsafe-looking power bombs of all time.
I mean, it was a good setup for the storyline they were trying to
Yeah,
before the end.
at least they were trying. Yeah, they were trying to set up at the end. They set up the breakup because at this point Shawn Michaels was the top heel with a bodyguard named Diesel. That's how Diesel got his start in the WWF. And they were having problems. And Shawn Michaels didn't tag in till the very last person, Razor Ramon. And Razor moved out of the way and Shawn Michaels super kicked Diesel. And that's what caused the ending because he's right. First went out was Fatu, then the 1-2-3 Kid, then Sione, then the Bulldog, and then Shawn Michaels super kicks Diesel, and Diesel whoops the entire team down the ringside, and Jack Doan just stands there and counts to 10, to 20, to 30, and to 40, and then just declared this thing a count out, awarding the win to the one guy who wasn't involved in the finish, Razor Ramon.
Yes, they tried to get him somebody else later down the line to feud with.
They tried.
They tried. It didn't work out too well. We'll get into that later on.
So I gave that one 2.5 with a big butt of, yes, it was important because this led to the worst era of wrestling with the worst champion of all time carrying through 95. We'll explain that when we get to that, but I gave it 2.5, but it really wasn't that good, but
Yeah, I'm with you. I went 2.5. I was just glad to see all them guys get cleared out. It's like, again, they forget, hey, we have to eliminate people here. This isn't a one-fall match.
Well, at least this one made sense that they're trying to break up Diesel and Shawn Michaels and the rest of the guys. Come on, we got to get back to the ring. We'll get counted out. You know, at least Jeff Jarrett said that on camera, so they acknowledged what was going on. They tried to fix it.
Oh, God. Moving along here. The Royal Family, Cheesy, Jerry Lawler, Queasy, and Sleazy, taking on Clowns Are Us, Dink, Wink, Pink, and Doink.
All right, so I went and actually did a little research. I don't know why, because this match was my low point at 2 stars. But I did some research. Cheesy was a midget professional wrestler named Larry Gibson, who has passed away. He died in 2012. Sleazy was Ignatius Infantendatis, who is still alive. He was a Mexican midget wrestler. And Queasy was Little Louie. He's still alive. He's a well-known wrestler, a midget wrestler. Taking on Doink the Clown. Now, this was not Matt Osborne, or Matt Bourne, as people know him. This was Ray Apollo, the guy who was such a piece of crap in the backstage area. Doink went from a main eventer to a jobber. Yep. Thank you, Ray Apollo. Then we had Wink, who was Buck Blevins, who passed away in 2018. He was a midget independent wrestler. Dink, who was Claude Giroux, who played Dink the entire time Dink existed in the World Wrestling Federation. And Pink was Rick Trogdon, who passed away in 2011 of a car accident. Those were the members of the midget team, if you ever wanted to know who they were. Now, this was actually, it started out as a funny midget match. Midget matches in the 80s and 90s, this is what you got, this is what you expected. They were put in places of the bathroom break to make people laugh, have some fun, or to get people laughing right before they went to the concession stand. That's what the midget matches were for. And this was that, except that it went too long.
You know what my problem with this match was? I'm going to tell you what my problem with this match was. I enjoyed all the shenanigans in the match.
Yes.
But then they eliminated Doink the Clown first. Which meant, what the hell is Jerry Lawler doing there? And the announcers were even like, okay, well, he can't participate in this match. Why is he not going to the back?
Because Jerry Lawler was still involved in helping with the finishes. And you're right. There was a lot of funny, cheesy stuff, but at 9.5 minutes of cornball,
it was.
I was like, take it home, because even Saturday Night Live only goes 7 minutes on their cornball spots. This one was 9.5 before they started doing any real stuff. And then the stupid finish at the end where all the midgets are chasing Jerry Lawler around.
I did enjoy the pie in the face, though. That was funny.
The pie in the face at the end, I guess they had to eliminate Doink or else you go back and bake it.
That might be the answer because, there's no other logical answer in my opinion.
Yeah, this match, this was the appropriate place on the match. This was appropriate comedy to make up for all the stupid shenanigans of the Teamsters all chasing each other off.
Yeah, and I went 1 3/4 stars. I was mad on this because of that. I'm like, okay, if you had the big guys in there, you should just one of them gets eliminated. That should have been done last instead of first. I think because it was just dumb. Like you should, if you wanted to have Jerry Lawler take on the 4 of them and he beats up 3 midgets, I would have been more okay with that.
Yeah, the reason I looked it up was from the standpoint of I wanted to find out if these guys were actors or trained wrestlers. And since they were all trained wrestlers, they should have let them go in there and wrestle.
Yeah, and now moving along, Todd Pettengill having an interview with Bull Nakano.
Oh, yeah. This was Bull Nakano had just won the WWF Women's title from Alundra Blaze at the Egg Dome in Japan. Bull Nakano was a very accomplished Japanese women's wrestler. She's a larger woman, but she's very, very accomplished and still remembered to this day because she was very, very well respected in the wrestling world. Except for Todd Pettengill, who decided that if you yell at her slowly in English, maybe she'll understand English. Now, Bull Nakano does speak English in real life.
Yes.
She actually is, she's the one that when Gaijin go over there for the women to Japan, she's the one that does the interpreting for them. The problem is, Todd Pettengill, you just suck.
He dropped the ball in this interview. I'm like, and I would wish I could have seen that match over here at Survivor Series versus.
Oh yeah, 25 minutes. It was a great match, but at that time, WWF didn't have the rights to anything that came out of the Egg Dome, so that's why we didn't get to see it.
Yeah, we did not get to see it there. But yeah, moving along here to my Quack Attack and my 2-finger salute.
I think that's the first time.
Yes, this is the first time because this match is getting both. And I'm going to tell you, Bob Backlund taking on Bret Hart with Owen Hart and Bulldog respectively in each corner in a submission match. This match was grade A. If you want to work a submission match here, and this was over 30 minutes. I mean, I gave this match 4 stars. But I'm going to tell you why it's getting my 2-finger salute. Because Helen Hart, really? You know, I get it. Bulldog gets knocked out. Owen's getting a part of that Quack Attack there because Owen was out there selling this so well. As a kid, I actually thought he was serious. As an adult, I loved it. It was just beautiful. But Helen Hart had to throw in the towel on her own son. What are you thinking, Helen Hart? That was not cool. Do not ever throw the towel in on your own son. You should have let him fight. Even Stu tried to grab it from you. This was, oh God, it's getting my Quack Attack and it's getting a 2-finger salute. Wow.
I think that's the most you've ever spoken at one time.
It happens.
I also went 4 stars on this match. This match, for those of you indie guys, you don't need high spots, which I've already gone over the kayfabe word of the day for a high spot. You don't need high spots to tell a great story and had a great match. There were only 3 times the ropes were used to not break a hold. Twice, Bret Hart got whipped into the corner, and one time they did one where they ran the ropes and they ran into each other. That was it in 33 minutes. Other than that, it was all mat wrestling.
Yes.
And the crowd loved it. Now, at first, I thought the ending went too long, and I'm still going to say it went too long from the standpoint of Bulldog. They put over that Bulldog hit the stairs and was knocked out. Well, it took 8 minutes for them to throw in the towel. Nobody went to check on Bulldog for 8 minutes.
Well, he was out, man. I mean, Owen.
Nobody went to check on Bulldog for 8 minutes.
Owen checked on him.
I'm talking medical personnel, but they would go check on other people.
They had coffee breaks.
Apparently, they had coffee breaks. So
Union.
I didn't buy the Bulldog was knocked out for 8 minutes. But the story that Bret Hart was in that hold the whole time, Owen Hart actually making himself tears Stu and Helen. Helen Hart had tears. She's a much better actor than people give her credit for. I understand why you gave the two-finger salute. Yes, we know it was booked that way.
Yes.
But now I'm going to go into the parts that I found funny. Bob Backlund looks just like Rick Astley if he just got his head shaved. Never going to give this one up.
No.
Never going to let it down.
No.
We're going to run around, but we ain't deserting you.
Oh, God.
Oh, this match, I like the callback to the history. Now, to explain the history on this, for those of you that were not familiar, December 1983, Bob Backlund was the champion, and they're getting ready to transition the title off of him and put it on a guy named Hulk Hogan. So in the middle of that is a guy named the Iron Sheik.
Cheeky baby.
He puts on the camel clutch, which is a move everybody knows, and Bob Backlund's manager at that time he's now a WWF Hall of Famer, Arnold Skolnick. They had put over that Backlund had a back injury. He was in this hole for a long time. Skolnick threw in a towel to protect Bob Backlund, and in reality protected him from the storytelling standpoint if he never gave up. Somebody else cost him the win, but he never got a return title match because the title transitioned 26 days later to a guy named Hulk Hogan. So they put over that story of Backlund had basically lost his mind and it had eaten him up so long, and he played crazy very, very well. Mr. Bob Backlund, the heel Bob Backlund, is one of my all-time favorite characters. I like it better than heel Vince McMahon. Because there's nothing like making a little kid spout out the president's names in order before you get an autograph. There's nothing better than that. This match, again, was awesome. Excellent storytelling from beginning to end. They put over both moves, were very dreaded. They kept trying to go for them, fighting their way out of it. We both went 4 stars. Excellent match. If any of you indie guys want to learn what the WWF wants when you get to go to a Snapple match, watch this first before you go to your Snapple match.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Moving along here.
Oh, let me finish up because we have to go with the history. 3 days later, Diesel wins the title in 8 seconds with a power bomb.
He does.
One of the most forgotten title changes in wrestling history. And it was all set up because of the first match to lead to this match because Backlund knew it was a short-term run for him, and he was okay with it.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Move on here. The $1 Million Team. Bam Bam Bigelow, Jimmy Del Rey, King Kong Bundy, Tatanka, and Tom Pritchard. With Jim Cornette and Ted DiBiase taking on Guts and Glory, Adam Bomb, Bart Gunn, Billy Gunn, Lex Luger, I'll be your hero, and Mabel.
Before we
with
go,
Sir Mo. I'm sorry, no, Oscar.
Yeah, with Oscar, he wasn't Sir Oscar because there was no King Mabel yet.
Not yet.
So I do want to point something out. Also, you were bragging on the first full complete team.
Yes.
Jerry Lawler's team was fully complete as well. Does that really mean it's a good team?
But that was a midget match. That's not the same as the Visionaries.
So let's get to this garbage match. Dr. Tom Pritchard and Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey. They were the current version of the Heavenly Bodies.
Yes.
Dr. Tom Pritchard's worked for the WWF for a long time. His brother is Bruce Pritchard. Tom Pritchard was also part of the executives for a while. He was the head of talent relations for a period of time. And he also shaved his head and was Zip of the Body Donnas.
It didn't work.
He still sucks.
It didn't work at all.
Gigolo Jimmy Del Rey, who was an actual martial art guy. Most of the guys that use a lot of feet and kick moves aren't martial artists. Jimmy Del Rey was. He actually started out in Japan for Wing, which was a mixture of martial arts, MMA, and wrestling all together. It was a decent concept. It didn't catch the fans' attention at that time. He also went to WCW, was known as Jimmy Graffiti. If you remember that horrible thing.
Oh, God, you're reminding people of that.
Now, I do want to commend Mabel here taking a top rope front flip bump. Good for you at 500 some odd pounds. And he and Bam Bam Bigelow did the cactus clothesline. Good for you, Mabel. Unfortunately, he got his head stuck under the ring and knocked himself out. So he had to be eliminated because he couldn't get up.
Pretty much.
So first out went Dr. Tom, thank God. It was short. Then Mabel counted himself out. Then Adam Bomb went out next. Then Jimmy Del Rey. Then Bart Gunn. Then Billy Gunn. And then Tatanka and Lex Luger, leaving the winners Bam Bam Bigelow and King Kong Bundy. There really isn't a whole lot else to talk about in this match. Tatanka looked horrible. He was starting to pack on the pounds at this time. Chris Chavez was starting to not care about cardio. So things like he was supposed to get clothesline backwards over the top rope, but he was 3 feet away from the rope, so he just fell back and rolled through the ropes. He was supposed to hit the ropes one time and caught his head on the rope and staggered forward, so the timing was off. He didn't look really great. His bumps were cut. He bumped early on a drop kick. He was halfway down the bump before Billy Gunn could throw the drop kick, so it looked horrible. Other than that, this match really was... It was 2 3/4 is what I rated it, but it really was not memorable.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I went about 2 1/4 on this. I thought this was just bad. But the big thing I'm realizing here, if you think about it in hindsight, looking at Lex Luger right now in this match, where he went to when he took on Yokozuna and won by countout, you could see that he really did not care.
No.
You can honestly see that dead up now in hindsight. As a kid, I didn't see it, but now you can really see it.
Well, there's a reason I've never been a fan of Lex Luger. It's garbage like that.
It is. There's a lot of reasons. But, but yeah, moving along here, I'm going to actually give a second Quack Attack here. I'm going to give a second Quack Attack to Bob Backlund's interview because there is nothing more charismatic than heel Bob Backlund going off on random. He has done it throughout them 2 years right there. He did it over there with Jonathan Taylor Thomas at WrestleMania when he was playing chess. I mean, during this, when he was running for president. This one where he was saying he never lost the belt. He was, how many years?
He won. He never lost the belt. He won it in 1978. Yeah. He had never lost the belt. He just re-obtained the belt. It was awesome.
He was always the champion. It was beautiful. I'm telling you, if you want to learn how to cut a promo, watch Crazy Bob Backlund.
Yeah, this is the only time Todd Pettengill was quiet.
Yes.
So I'm going to give it up. I'm going to give up the Mayhem version of the Quack Attack because Bob Backlund kept Todd Pettengill quiet.
Yes, and that was the greatest part of this show. Is Todd Pettengill just shh. But moving along to the main event. This was great. The Undertaker with Paul Bearer taking on Yokozuna with Jim Cornette and Mr. Fuji with Chuck Norris as the special enforcer.
Yeah, this was... The casket match is basically some variation of the ambulance match, the stretcher match, the get them to a location match. They're okay. I'm not a big fan of them because they're really anticlimactic. It's like something on a pole match. They're really anticlimactic. They're really hard to make interesting. And this one wasn't all that terribly interesting. It was okay. And I did go 2 3/4 on this one. Undertaker did win on this one. But it was mostly because Undertaker as a babyface, this is really the first time he began using the darkness and the psychology of the Dark Undertaker. Yokozuna actually butt bumping and selling that he was scared of the casket, even though they stood in it and fought in it. I did like that. Chuck Norris... standing there, posing down against King Kong Bundy and Bam Bam Bigelow was awesome.
It was even funnier when Jeff Jarrett decided to walk into
And Jeff Jarrett took the nice thrust kick to the chest. Cornette did a great sell. He took a punch from Undertaker and laid there and actually crossed his eyes several times. That was great. It was just too much outside stuff. For reasons... Ted DiBiase and his $1 million corporation decided to come down and mess with The Undertaker. So Chuck Norris stood there, Cool. I think that's why they all wore cowboy hats, because it was Walker, Texas Ranger night at San Antonio.
I think the reason was why IRS was involved in this because, according to my understanding, after their feud that they had, their very short feud, him and the Taker, he left.
That's possible.
I think it was his way of getting out of there.
It's possible, but all of that really made no sense. Looking back through the history of that, there's no reason the evil tax man would tax a dead man.
He needs money. He's going to get it any way he can. You can't cheat death, and you can't cheat taxes. Well, you can.
That just made more sense than whatever Vince McMahon threw at us in 1994.
There we go. Yeah, I went 3 stars on this match. I enjoyed it thoroughly, especially the super kick there to Jeff Jarrett. That was probably one of the funniest things out of the whole match.
So now you've seen the most odd, forgettable, forgotten, lost to the droves of history pay-per-view in WWF history.
You have, but guess what? We get to skip some of those because that's the end of our show.
Yes,
on that.
Thank God. You put it in my contract that no more 95, so I'm happy about that.
No more 95.
I know there's no more 95.
There's no more 95. Good God. What we're getting ready to go to next, right here.
All right.
We're going to Montreal.
Are we? Oh, we are.
We are.
We are.
Ooh. Oh, man. Well, you already see his feelings. I'm Dr. Quack.
And I'm the important one, Mr. Mammon. I actually like this one.
We're going to find out. We'll talk to you next time.